Hi, everybody. This is day 1178 days. Let me turn on since Richard vanished. Um, give or take some days. Give or take some days. Maybe, yeah. Um, since he was, well, the retaliation, the code red, it went from, just destroying him as far as his career goes and his pride goes and everything that he worked for, um, taking away his rank and everything, which I'm going to talk about today a little bit, um, to escalating because he didn't give up, and other reasons. It really explains. Let me make sure I'm on here. I'm always getting ahead of myself. Okay, there I am. Okay, thank you, everyone. This is 1,178 days since, I don't know if I have those days exact. Okay, it's been a long time, and it's all going to come out the exact day, exactly what happened. But we do know this, that Richard was a whistleblower. Richard was connected to the Fort Bliss CID through Park University. He was connected to Park University. He was connected to Fort Bliss. He was connected to the Veterans Administration there. He was connected to the Director of Emergency Services, to the Chief of Security for Fort Bliss. He was connected to his chain of command, and of course, um, the CPS. And who's Claudia Guerra? Who is Claudia Guerra? CPS. CPS connected to DES, Director of Emergency Services, connected to the Chief of Security of Fort Bliss at the time, Thomas Kane, and more. Every day, breaking news. Every day. Today is just multiple breaking news. Okay, multiple. It's a mega day, breaking news day. And so I'm going to start with that. That Richard made complaints. We're told of three of them to the Child Protective Services, and we were told that by Belen Rocha, okay, and that Richard had turned in the sex videos. We were told that by Belen Rocha, and we're very grateful for that. Um, and we are heartbroken that she has now a criminal history, that, seemingly she has been groomed into her style, and she's a young mother, and it's heartbreaking because Richard was trying to warn her that they don't respect you. Matter of fact, they think of you bad, and now we know that anybody that grooms a young, beautiful mother into um, a, um, into the sex cult, into a criminal lifestyle with young children, um, think thinks of her bad. Okay, they don't want anything good for her. They want something bad for her, and it's really unhappiness. It really is sad. So, but there it is, and it gets very ugly because she does have criminal history now. The latest what is for assault with a deadly weapon. Um, I think it is. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Please correct me if I'm wrong. 941-677-0060. Um, and that is terrible because I think she's just 20 years old, at the height of her beauty, the height of her vigor. Women's, I've been told that the height of their beauty is at the age of 20. And so, yeah, it really is a terrible situation because she is a young mother. And that's what really breaks our heart, because we pray for those children. Um, and we are all very upset about reports coming out of Israel about the harm to children, the harm to people, even young mothers, anybody, young men, right? Young men, old men, human beings, animals, the land, the structures of the land, the infrastructure of the land, um, the harm to small businesses, the economy. We are absolutely appalled by what is happening over in the Middle East. But I'm telling you, it's happening right here in our country. And, there's a Bible saying, before you take out the log in your neighbor, the splinter in your neighbor's eye, you need to take out the log in your own eye. And I'm here to say that we have multiple logs in our eye here in this country, because just on Fort Bliss alone, in their care, 85,000 unaccounted for minors. Where are they? They're missing. Okay? Under the watch of the military. It is, and this is while it's going on, because we had one emergency intake center after another for these migrants coming in. And you had reports of their mistreatment, of the rapes, everything going on. And, it just terrible, absolutely terrible. And so we need to be appalled by even the situation with Belen, with Dannia, these very young females that, the culture and the family, let's say it because we have breaking news on this, that, groom them and train them into something where they're not respected. They think of you bad, and they're just horny. They just want to see you naked. Those are Richard's words, and I think they are important to repeat because it tells you his state of mind. He wanted something better for her. He wanted her to be respected, and he wanted her to be loved and honored. And I'm very proud to be his mother. Very proud to be his mother for that, for him saying that. So, and feeling like that, and going to the CPS, and then all of a sudden we have another person of interest, Claudia Guerra, and with the CPS complaints now, we have gotten information that those complaints are attached to 3905 Bliss Avenue in El Paso, Texas, and we need that confirmed with, corroborated. We need that corroborated with second sources, with the law enforcement community, and, so that is huge breaking news. We have, that's two big breaking newses, right? And we have more. We have more. If that's not enough, we have even more, because we have confirmed today that 3905 Bliss Avenue, Fort Bliss, Texas, is connected with the families of Rocha, Ortega, Katzen, and Soto. So those are the families that are very connected historically to that property, and we received confirmation on that today. And I've been saying for, I think, a couple of years now that Belen and Dannia, Danny, Katzen are related. Okay, they are related. Well, I didn't realize they were so closely related. They are very closely related. And so, and of course, uh, the connection of 3905 Bliss Avenue, and being confirmed that it is historically Rocha, Katzen, Ortega, and Soto. That was a surprise to us. Um, it just, you know, it makes you shiver. So that's huge breaking news. We have, if that's not enough, we have more breaking news. Today, the Fort Bliss active duty soldier that has put in a request to Representative Veronica Escobar and has copied um, Senator Ted Cruz, was visited today by DC law special agents. So that is huge news, really big news, because that means this congressional inquiry is moving forward. It's moving forward. So that is huge. And one thing that we were told is that Team Find Richard Halliday's goodwill petition, because that's exactly what it is. We wish this active duty, Fort Bliss active duty soldier goodwill in his endeavor to make Fort Bliss better, right? To make the military better, to make Fort Bliss better. And let me tell you what and it's very, really important. Let's see if I have it here. Let's see if I have it here. Okay, here we go. I wanted to tell you what. Okay, so here it is. The allegations within the Fort Bliss active duty soldiers complaint. So here we go. All right. Is the unexplained disappearance of our son, Richard Halliday, while on active duty within the confines of his barracks, failures to properly investigate and secure crucial evidence, including witness statements and security video footage, inadequate efforts to actively search for Richard Halliday or provide updates to his family about his status, reports of allowing underage individuals to reside within military barracks, raising concerns about the safety and conduct, allegations of permitting unauthorized access during COVID lockdown. We also received that information too, along with this Fort Bliss active duty soldier from Thomas Kane, right? Undermining security protocols, the presentation of questionable deaths as suicide despite evidence suggesting otherwise, and furthermore, the alleged obstruction by the JAG Office of Soldiers' ability to report fraud, waste, and abuse, along with the security risk, and that really strikes a core with the military ethics and protection of those who serve. So that is what this congressional is about. I think everyone can get behind that because, we're just going to find the truth, right? We want to find the truth. So I think that's very, very important. Um, so that is huge news, and we're very grateful for that news. Uh, but that's not all. We have even more breaking news. It has been confirmed today, our fears that Team Find Richard Halliday, when we came to El Paso and rallied, that we were infiltrated with indeed FBI informant. Um, at least one. At least one. So we have said that we've been infiltrated by FBI informants. Well, today we received confirmation that indeed one, very important one, um, was the FBI informant. This means that it was an internal obstruction of justice, okay, from the FBI. And I named this live stream Belen and Dannia 3 and the CID, the deception of CID, because I could put the deception of the command, the deception of the FBI, the deception of Park University, the deception of the VA, the deception of the MPs, the deception. I can put all that in there. But this really, it seems like a huge group, but it really is a small group that have infiltrated these many agencies. And so I just put the deception of the CID, because the CID is the smallest office. And absolutely, we have confirmed that we had an FBI informant, an internal obstruction of justice, an internal um, an internal, what do you call it, to maneuver us, to control us, to lead us, um, and also have eyes very close to us. And so, yeah, this was just, it's so serious, y'all. So not only are we getting information about 3905 Bliss Avenue, this family being very, very connected, the Katzens, Ortegas, the Rochas, and then Soto's name came up. And then we have the CID office. Absolutely do not tell me that they did not know, because we informed them. We gave them the family tree. We have been so transparent in everything that we have done. And we even told the PI that only interviewed Belen and Dannia, of all the people, not the Hearts, not Jay Pollen, not the unit members, not the command, but Belen and Dannia. And, they put these young females as human shields, after they have groomed them and turned them into criminals. Um, and and to fall, to be shot the first, right? And so it is the most despicable, horrible thing, because this is all coming out now. And do not tell me or anyone in Team Find Richard Halliday that has been keeping up with this case, that the CID, that Special Agent Marlon Soto, did not know. Okay? The question, because we do have information that they were misleading the MPs, that they, who in the guard mount. That's why I wanted Anthony Swafford to tell us who did he hear that from. But he said that he was afraid, because he believed his family would be at risk if he revealed to us who at the guard mount to the MPs. Okay? He was afraid. He was afraid for his family and his family's safety. And so he couldn't reveal who was giving false information to the MPs on Fort Bliss. And we believe it was the CID. Now, he could confirm that. But, if that is the case, then they were receiving bad information, false information. And was the El Paso Police Department receiving false information? All they had to do was talk to Richard's bond agent, right? And she would have said, no, wait a minute. He was so respectful. He was so sweet. That's the word she used. He was so sweet, and he did everything I asked without complaint. Isn't that what Jay Paulin said? He did everything I asked of him without complaint. And, so the false narrative of Richard being like an El Capone or whatever was being circulated, right? And this use of Hollywood money, they circulated that information saying that Richard's love for Hollywood money and giving people a Benjamin, hey, here's a Benjamin, right? Um, that was equal to counterfeit. Well, I'm sorry, that's not equal to counterfeit. That says, monopoly money is monopoly money, and people know that it says for motion picture only, right? And it has a different feel. But it's really good. It's pretty clever, but it's not real money. And so the CID was putting out this false narrative about Richard, and yeah, and now we have confirmed that we had an infiltrator in Team Farm Richard Halliday that indeed 100% FBI informant. Okay, so I think that is huge news. Um, with a criminal record, and it's not Leilani Hart. Okay, I'm just going to make that very clear. It's not Leilani Hart. She has a criminal record of her own, right? She has multiple. She's a convicted criminal, so she has a criminal history of her own. This so that is. Let me see. Do we have another breaking news? Um, Well, I hope not. We're working on corroborating some other news that's coming into us, and but I think, wow, you know, I think this is really big, and what this means is that the CID has deceived us from the very beginning, because they had such a head start, y'all. They had such a head start, and they knew what was going on. They had Richard's remains, and that's some of the information that we're getting in, that needs to be corroborated, um, and so we have those coordinates. I'm trying to put out the things that are, um, I think, people in El Paso and um, service members on Fort Bliss, because remember, a service member uh, reached out to us at Christmas in 2020 and said, "Did you know, hey, ma'am, sir, sir, did you know that Bernabe, General Bernabe, is looking for your son's remains at the mock Afghanistan village? Do you know that? Did you know that?" No, we weren't informed. No, we weren't informed that he was looking for Richard's remains. And we didn't know that he was working with the State Department looking for Richard's remains in Mexico, which the CAO, Ali Payne, Lieutenant Colonel Ali Payne, revealed in a news article, a news interview. I don't understand why they don't answer us in letters and give us information about our son's remains and where they're looking for Richard's remains. And, we have information that they found Richard's remains. Um, and, of course, he was dismembered, and so it was in different locations, and different people were involved in identifying his partial remains. And we've also been told they do not have his head. Is that why um, they're not telling us about our son? You know, they didn't want another Guillen situation. I think this would have really this calls for accountability, doesn't it? I think it calls for a lethal injection kind of accountability. And now the CID, um, it's very, very clear by the information that we have now that they acted in conjunction with the FBI informant, with those that want to thwart the investigation, want to purposely botch the investigation internally from the law enforcement community. And how they did it, and how much did the chain of command know, right? How much did they know? How much did um, General 4-star General Garrett know? How much did he know? I think he needs to be brought back. I think that Major General Clem Coward needs to be brought back. I believe Mealy needs to be brought back, and McConville needs to be brought back. And of course, we need to bring in Lieutenant General Bernabe and Donna Martin, Lieutenant General Donna Martin, who is now in charge of the IG, the Inspector General of the Army. We need to bring them together and find out, when did they know about Richard's remains, and what do they know about his murder, and what do they know about the Code Red, because clearly Leilani Hart, she's the one that brought up the Code Red, like a few good men, but it's worse than that, right? Because not only did they retaliate, but it escalated to the murder. And then I had Team Fund Richard Halliday reach out to me today and say, I am so angry. Why have they not rescinded the Gomar? Why haven't they restored Richard and everything that, what is behind them promoting him twice right now, right? What is behind that? Who did that? Who ordered that? What are the reasons? Why don't they even tell you? Why do they do it in secret? Why don't they give you answers? And why don't they restore him totally? Because on July 9th, and this would all be post-mortem, but they need to restore him post-mortem, right? Um, and I totally agree. And I totally understand the anger. I'm not allowed to get angry, right? I'm not allowed to even really grieve in this whole thing, even though, I um, especially the first year, you just cry every day. You just cry every day. It's so heartbreaking. Everything, everything. And to find out that our CID is just full of deception. Um, and that they it's a huge probability that they participate, um, because we know they participated in the cover-up, right? And they, this whole thing with Richard, knowing them, and we know that they knew each other because of the 3 months of vile and vulgar uh, harassment and threats and bullying that we received, and the messages, going through the messages with a fine-tooth comb, instead of with emotions, but going through it and seeing what information they revealed. They absolutely knew Richard. They knew Richard very well. And that means that this whole CID internship is, shocking. And that Leilani Hart had a huge role to play in all of this. Leilani Hart and her son, First Lieutenant Dallas Hart, huge role to play in this. And I would say her husband, James Hart, over at the VA on Fort Bliss, huge role to play in this. And the CID office, the team, the whole team there at the CID had a huge role to play in this. And it is very important to mention that Tavita Nusa, special agent there at Fort Bliss in the CID, lost his badge, and he was removed from the military. So this is all, you try to wrap your head around a day like today with all of that breaking news, and I'll have more. I'll put it together because this house thing is for me a very, very, very big deal, because not only does it corroborate what I had already known in the family tree that you can easily find online. You can just easily find it all online. Now it's been cleansed, sanitized a bit, but he is in this house. Rocha, Ortega, Katzen, Soto is connected to this house on 3905 Bliss Avenue, and so that's been confirmed. But there's more going on here, and we're going to there's so much going on, y'all, but I just want that to sink in, because that tells you that the CID was acting in bad faith, that they were up to no good when it came to Richard Halliday's case, that they botched this case, and that those that are even knowing, because we were there at that meeting with the 15 plus agencies, they absolutely know that this is a botched case and that the CID is involved and implicated in the obstruction of justice and more. I don't know all the legal terms that they contributed to wrongdoing in this case. So, yeah, we'll, and I know my voice sounds a little shaky when you hear all of that information from who Claudia Guerra is in connection with CPS, this house, 3905 Bliss, in connection, Bliss Avenue, in connection with the CPS complaints that we would like confirmed, we would like corroborated. When you hear about who the history of the house and what families this house belongs to, and who else is connected, and if Richard is calling CPS and making complaints about this address, and that means that Belen was living there, there's a huge possibility that she was living there, because we know that the complaints were about her, right? At least some of them were about her, and so that is huge news too. And then you have Tanya Katzen, being very openly connected with this property. So absolutely, Dannia Katzen came to us. Dannia Katzen came to us. She called us. She went to KTSM. Okay, Belen Rocha went to Hana. She came to us. She obstructed justice very early on with false information. Okay, trying to mislead. And so did Dannia, trying to mislead. Trying to tell us, oh, he's in Cancun. I'm like, okay, whatever. We want to hear more about that. We want to hear more about that. Oh, about the credit cards. And yeah, um, this means that they absolutely knew each other. They were out to mislead. That means what is going on in that family? Why was that family coming together, willing to protect Dallas Hart? What is their connection with Leilani Hart? We know that Leilani Hart was quote unquote running CID. She was, bragging that she was running CID, and what kind of criminal activities were, what else were they doing? Because if they are going to cover this up, that means CID is involved in other crimes and covering up other crimes. If Leilani Hart is controlling them, and she has this huge, huge criminal history, and then Dannia has a criminal history of theft, big time theft, not just of a candy bar, but big, big theft, and being a con artist, and then of course, um, Belen has a criminal history also with drugs and assault and deadly weapon kind of whatever. Um, so this means the implications of this is huge, and not to forget to mention that KTSM did not look at their sources. Did not look at their sources. Did not, did they um, have intentional malice? Did Kerchurga have intentional malice? Did Natasha, because they did harm in what they did? And, for me, I can tell you right now, I believe that Angela Kachurga of KTAP and El Paso Matters, and in connection with UTEP, she absolutely had intentional malice. And, it seems that CID had intentional malice too, right? Obstruction of, or, well, I'm going to leave it up to the lawyers to figure out what the legal terms are. I'm going to learn them, though. I'm going to learn them all um, about the evil that they have done, the evil. And, my term is they're up to no good. And that is a very, very strong statement, because we are to make the world a better place. Right? We are to make the world a better place. And, uh, that has been the stable, the golden rule. The golden rule, do unto others, have them do unto you. The golden rule, Mary is kind to the old blind man. Right? That has been what made America great. Is a pursuit of making a place better than we found it. And that being in Girl Scouts, being a brownie leader, when the girls were little, and Hannah doing Girl Guides in Ireland. What was the book? What did the book say? The golden rule, and make the world a better place. So when I say they're up to no good, that's very harsh. It might sound, kindish, childish, but it's very, very harsh. They're up to no good. And we suffer. We suffer for it. Richard suffered for it. So the CID, up to no good. Their whole mission is to establish justice, right? To investigate wrongdoings and make the world a better place. That's their whole mission. to make the Army a better place. The whole mission for Thomas Paine is to make Fort Bliss a better place. The whole mission for Park University is to make the world a better place. The whole mission of the VA is to make the world a better place. The whole mission for the United States military is to make the world a better place. And it seems like we have failed. We have a failed at every turn. They are up to no good. Okay, any questions for tonight? I think that is quite a bit of information to think about in this case, and the level, the work that we have to do now, the letter writing that we have to do now, the prayers, sharing all this information is enormous because of our agencies and institutions being up to no good and not doing what they were initially supposed to do. They were supposed to, we shouldn't be in this situation. And now when the CID is caught, they are absolutely caught. Worse than Major General Eisenhower. Major General Eisenhower just looks weak. He looks, controlled. Up to no good, right? Because he's controlled. And he is now participating in the obstruction of justice. But we have institutional support from Washington, D.C., and we're getting this information in. That Fort Bliss CID, they knew who was and is. They knew that she was connected to this address, the CPS. They knew about Dannia, who was. She was sent to obstruct justice because they also were obstructing justice. We know now that an FBI informant internally was misleading us, trying to obstruct justice in this case. We also know that Leilani, CID, the very agency that was obstructing justice. We know that Dallas Hart's alibi has totally crumbled, and we know that it just a carjacker was executed with lethal injection. We know that this is no game. The murder, the code red murder of an active duty soldier is no game, and that Texas doesn't play around. They absolutely execute by lethal injection. And we haven't even discovered all of it yet. We haven't even discovered all of it yet, and it is so that there is enough for a jury to convict. There's enough for a jury to convict. And the harm that they have put us in, the torture, the agony that they have put us through, including Miss Kacherga, with her intentional malice. Look up the word malice. Um, it is intentionally to do harm, intentionally to be up to no good. It's very serious. And this is a publicly funded media. So, and for Dannia to go to Nastasia Paloma, and Nastasia Paloma not to look at her source, not to let us know, to make us beware of the source. I don't know. I need to talk to her. I need to talk to her about that. And KTSM, what they did with Dannia Katzen. So, but I already talked to Miss Kacherga, and it's very clear to me, my opinion, Team Fine Richard Halliday's opinion, is that there was intentional malice there. So, yeah, so I'll repeat for, thank you, Patty, for coming on. Thank you, Anicia. Breaking news, the house, 3905 Bliss Avenue, connects the families. So, and I know how it connects, but I'm going to wait and let that information come in. But I can tell you right now, it has been confirmed to be the house of the Rochas, the Ortegas, the Katzens, and Sotos. And so that information has been confirmed. We also have confirmed today that we have at least one known FBI informant that had infiltrated Team Fine Richard Halliday to be up to no good, to mislead us, to do other things, and that was an internal obstruction of justice. Okay. We also know that Belen Rocha externally participated in obstruction of justice. We know that Dannia externally participated in obstruction of justice. And there's many more. And we also know that, and we're trying to get confirmation why this house came up, is because we are told, and we'd really love help with that. We have put in a FOIA for the CPS complaints, and that has not been honored. They have not been honored. But we have been told, and that can be squared away, that the CPS, the Child Protective Services that Richard made, was to this address, 3905 Bliss Avenue. And so that means that Belen was living there. But that needs to be corroborated. That's a problem. Seemingly she lived there. But we know that that house is connected to the Ortegas and the Rochas and the Katzens, Dannia's family, and there's more, and then the Sotos. We also know that today special agents from DC came to visit the Fort Bliss active duty soldier who has submitted a request for a congressional inquiry, which includes other things, but also our son's case. And that is moving forward, which is very good news. And we were told that the petition to support was mentioned. So that's a winner for us. And that keeps him safe. This is a Fort Bliss active duty soldier. And so if you have not signed that petition, it's on Facebook. You can sign that petition and then do even more, campaign for signatures on that petition. That would really help. Okay, everyone, thank you so much, and I will be back tomorrow, God willing. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.